When it comes to COBRA for spouses, when an employee retires or hits Medicare, it's not nearly as simple as just 36 months. HR frequently hears Medicare and assumes the spouse gets 36 months of continuation coverage. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Let's dive in. The answer depends on one critical detail first. Did the spouse actually lose coverage because of a qualifying event? That's the rule people skip, and it changes everything. Under COBRA, the spouse is their own qualified beneficiary. They can make their own election, even if the employee doesn't. Dependent-only COBRA is absolutely a thing. The Department of Labor spells this out. However, retirement isn't a magic word. Loss of coverage is. If an employee retires and the spouse loses plan coverage, that's a qualifying event. Standard COBRA, 18 months, not 36. The 36-month number only shows up when Medicare timing overlaps, specifically if the employee became entitled to Medicare less than 18 months before their termination. The spouse can stay on COBRA until 36 months after the employee's Medicare entitlement date. CMS gives the example of Medicare entitlement 8 months before employment ends, and that produces 28 months of COBRA coverage for the spouse. Here's the scenario that trips up the most people. Active employee turns 65, enrolls in Medicare, decides to drop group coverage. Most plans will not allow spouse-only enrollment. The spouse is going to lose coverage. This feels like a COBRA event. It is not. The employee could have kept group coverage. They chose to drop it. That makes the loss voluntary. It is not a COBRA qualifying event, even for the spouse who didn't make that choice. If this were to happen, the spouse's option is really just marketplace coverage through an ACA special enrollment period. They did lose coverage, so they have a special enrollment period, but that's not COBRA. It's a conversation that no one wants to have, but it's the right answer. If you have an active employee that goes on Medicare, their spouse is not COBRA eligible if they choose to drop group coverage and continue to work. Now, if you've got less than 20 employees, there's different rules entirely. Federal COBRA does not apply. Medicare secondary payer rules don't apply. The spouse's continuation rights are going to depend on state mini COBRA laws, state continuation laws. Some states have them, some states don't. Durations could range anywhere from 3 months to 36 months. If you've got under 20 employees, there's no federal safety net in this situation at all. All right, so let's recap real quick with 5 scenarios, 5 different answers. If an employee retires and the spouse loses coverage, they get COBRA for 18 months. If Medicare started less than 18 months before retirement, they can get COBRA for up to 36 months from the Medicare effective date. For an active employee voluntarily dropping coverage for Medicare at a larger employer with more than 20 employees, there's no COBRA. The spouse goes to the marketplace. If you've got less than 20 employees, check your state's continuation laws. Divorce or legal separation, 36 months, pretty much every time. And one more thing, COBRA is not a Medicare substitute. It's temporary continuation coverage. Employees nearing retirement need to think about Part B enrollment separately. Don't assume that COBRA is going to help them solve for that. If an employee retires and a spouse loses coverage, offer COBRA. If an active employee voluntarily drops for Medicare, that's not a COBRA event. If you're a small employer, check your state continuation laws. Check the calendar, the employer size, figure out who made that decision to drop. The 36-month is very real. It's just much narrower than almost everyone thinks. For more content like this, check out benefitsblake.com or subscribe.